live. Okay, just checking YouTube. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our 99th episode of SEO Fight Club. If you have ideas about what we should do for our 100th episode topic, be sure to leave comments on this episode, or let us know in chat, or talk to us in IMG. We don't have anything officially planned for episode 100. So, Clint, Kyle, what do you guys think we should do?
Strippers and beer.
I was going to go along the lines of nudity, but yeah.
Beer
Kyle's in Thailand. You can get cheaper.
Well,
this is where we start getting real views. Let's turn these numbers up.
So there we have it. We'll get Clint.
One of us will get naked
to be underwear models, so we don't get thrown off YouTube. And
dad bod underwear.
Yep. All right. So what's new on SEO this week?
I had some requests from viewers, so I went over real estate SEO. It was intended to be apartment SEO, but we just hit real estate all at the same time, and then build a template out, and then looked a little bit at how to take advantage of event schema in order to get some rich snippets for your 3D tours and your 3D images and stuff that I'm pretty sure more than just real estate people would take advantage of. So it was a good show.
Very cool. And if you haven't heard about Clint's show, it's called SEO This Week, and you can find it on YouTube by searching for SEO This Week. It'll be the first show. We also normally talk about the SEO video show. It's an interview show with prominent SEOs. If you want to look into that one as well, just search on YouTube for the SEO video show. We normally have Lauren here to talk about what's coming up, but she's not here today. So the main thing I'm aware of is the Ask the Expert with me, which is on Tuesday for IMG subscribers. Is there anything else, Kyle, that we need to announce?
Well, the Web Copy Masterclass just dropped. Kevin Mangan, people are absolutely loving it. Apparently, it's even better than my course.
Yeah, I saw those comments.
So I don't know if I like that very much.
Well, we'll see next month in the numbers. Your course has won 2 months in a row.
Well,
so,
you know.
Yeah, if you don't know, we revenue share with our course providers. So every month is a contest based on views within the IMG community. So if you have an absolutely amazing course and you need help monetizing it, let us know. We'd like to hear about it.
And then, Ted, we also have Clint's course on Quora, Stepping Up Your SEO Game, coming on the 8th, so just 5 days. And I think later in the month, we also have another conference. People loved the conferences. Last month we put in 2, and we've got another one coming in. It's Marketing Business Summit out of Milan. It's actually from 2019, but it was November 2019. It might be the last live major SEO conference that happened before all the conferences weren't allowed to go anymore. There may have been one in January, February, but this was pretty close to the last one. So it's kind of weird when you watch the footage to see people sitting next to each other. The instructors come down they do music and they get up on stage. It's actually pretty weird.
So how many hundreds or thousands of dollars are we charging for access to all the courses and conferences?
I know, right? So the price just went up to $89.
So $89 a month.
All the way up. Yeah.
So you get your course, you get my course, you get Clint's course, you get 15, 16 other courses, you get several conferences, you get the community, and you get all the SEO testing.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Sounds like we're bastards. So internetmarketing.gold if you want to check that out. There is a free side to the community. So if you want to search for Internet Marketing Gold is a Facebook group on Facebook. You can interact with the community for free. So to our topic, I thought we'd just talk about something new and see where it goes. So it's kind of a fluid topic for today, so feel free to take it in any direction you like. But I wanted to take a crack at neglected SEO. Could this be a different way of doing things? And so I'm interested in your ideas of where you think it could go or where it might be useful. And so the idea here is I'm looking at keywords and analyzing what the cohort of ranking websites tends to neglect. And so I did my analysis on 4 keywords. So these would be the niches I'm looking at: online casino, games, Xbox wireless headset, and DUI lawyer Los Angeles. And right away, I noticed that the e-commerce one neglected the fewest factors out of the group, which kind of made sense because e-com websites tend to be heavy with on-page. And so I found that to be quite interesting. And then online casino, since they often use a lot of proprietary technologies like Flash and Silverlight and Flex and things like that, they tend to compete more with off-page factors. So they had like the largest amount of neglected factors. So I thought it was interesting from a keyword research perspective just to see how many neglected factors each one had. Any initial thoughts about what I'm trying to do here?
Can you, I don't know if it's possible, but can you go over how you came up with that?
I am using Cora data, and there's this weird trick that we can do with Cora reports because we have the Cora shared data. So everyone who's using Cora SEO software can opt in to share anonymously their factor data for all their keywords that they run. And so we have this massive database of tens of thousands of different keywords, different reports, all the factor data for it. And we can look at and see what factors are common across keywords in a broadly applicable sense and what factors aren't. And so when I run these keywords in Cora, in the roadmap, there's a certain amount of them that are red. And what that red means in that Cora roadmap is that the factors were broadly applicable in general, but they weren't for the keyword. So they were the factors that should have been there, should have been tuned well, but weren't.
And that's based off of the shared data.
Based off of the shared data.
Okay.
And so I'm basically looking at those red ones that are broadly applicable factors, but were neglected for this cohort, for this keyword.
Okay. And then as an example, you would have 100 keywords, then you'd look at the red for those 100 and look for trends, and that's how you came up with your neglected factors.
Yeah,
you did it at a larger scale, but 100 is what a normal person could do, right?
Yeah, not 100 keywords, but 100 URLs for each keyword. So I looked at 4 keywords here. We looked at 100 websites ranking for each keyword, and these are the factors that they were neglecting that were broadly applicable for thousands of other keywords.
And you can see that like the little triangle with the exclamation point on something that should be done, but it was not. So on online casino there, the first one is for actually online casino, but then the next triangle is for games. Right.
Yeah, so these triangles I just added in there because I was shocked that they were being neglected at all. So those were my
if something
call-outs.
is in yellow, it's not a broadly applied factor, but it's something that they did.
No. So what's happening here is each column reflects what's being neglected for the keyword. Okay, so these are all broadly applicable factors being neglected. The yellow ones are factors that are only neglected by 2 of the 4 keywords. The orange ones are neglected by 3 of the 4 keywords, and the regular are just neglected singletons.
Okay, I see.
And so I lined them all up so that we can see, which ones we're neglecting the same thing. And so that's why they're kind of spread out, is I wanted to group like factors so that we can see which keywords are neglecting it. And so it's interesting to me as well that these keywords are kind of neglecting page size. The first 3 keywords are neglecting page size, but DUI lawyer Los Angeles isn't. So it makes sense to me that a product page or a category page for headsets is going to be a thin page, but DUI lawyer isn't. Turns out games is a thin page and online casino tends to be a thin page. And that's what I would expect for like a login page or a flash widget page or, something like along those lines. And then neglecting entities and H1 tags was interesting. It's interesting that lawyers don't, but these other ones do. So it looks like entities still aren't a big play. And so it was... Go ahead.
That one stuck out. Those entity ones stuck out because, especially in the e-com, I remember you did that one example where it was like sunshine orange t-shirt or something like that, and it doesn't make sense, right? So if people aren't going to search for it, and it's also not an entity, so it's kind of weird that they're not being used in e-com more. That's the
yeah, and to say that these are being neglected, they're not necessarily being neglected by anyone, but they're being neglected by the websites that rank for these keywords enough such that they don't correlate as strong factors. So there may be 1 or 2 websites that aren't neglecting them, but it's not a clear pattern that they're being addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And these Google result ones, these are about how the website is presented in the search results. So the document matches would be, if it's keyword.php is the name of the file on the server, that would be a document match. Publish date was interesting. So casinos aren't neglecting publish dates. Thought that was interesting. Path matches and the URL. So that's the directory names that would reside in the URL.
Could that, before I get too far, could like publish date, could that be, it's not that Google, they're taking it or they're looking at it, it's just Google's not showing it?
Yeah, so there's a couple possibilities here. Because this is the presentation and the search result, Google could opt to not use publish dates for these keywords.
Okay.
And there's also the possibility that the websites for these keywords might not use a publish date in their web page.
Right.
So those need more research. So keywords and H1 tags. I thought it was really interesting that online casino games and the Xbox wireless headset keyword, they were all neglecting tuning the H1. I just, that surprised me. Not sure what to make of it.
And this one, is it because Quora has keywords and then it has search matches? Does this take into account exact match as well, or is it just a variation?
It would include the exact match as well. These are the variations, and the variations in Quora include the exact match. It would say search terms if it was the exact match only.
So that is weird, especially for the ecom one.
Yeah, and keywords and meta description as well. I was also a little shocked about Open Graph, because anytime you want something to be shareable, you have to really dial in your Open Graph data. And I would imagine online casinos and games would want to be a shareable entity.
I'm thinking that I think I would see that because they don't market a lot on those social. There's more money marketing at other places like media buys and other casino sites and advertising with those media. So they probably just don't care about Open Graph.
Yeah.
Like the casino network's not unlike adult. So in adult, it's like damn near impossible to get really good links. So what they do is they network among other adult site owners, and then you just share links and advertising in between the websites and build audiences off of each other. So like, yeah, you can't do adult in Facebook. So I would imagine that online casinos are probably the same. They're like, whatever, no one's gonna share unless, I don't know, what is that Kings group or whatever, that they might get some free advertising on Facebook from a user, but most people aren't gonna come join me in playing poker and give me $500. I don't know. So they just probably overlook it, I would think.
Could be. We had one person ask, is it possible that entities aren't being recognized due to case, i.e. not capitalized letters on the entity? I use TextRaiser. They're pretty good about handling case and singular plural form and tenses and word stemming. So I think that's largely handled. Let's see, we have another comment. Would be interesting to do that with data specific to your market, for example local SEO. Compare keyword city across a range of locations. Yeah, I think the more you narrow it in, the more interesting the data set becomes. Like, what do city SEO websites tend to neglect in general? What do jewelry stores tend to neglect in general? So yeah, getting more niche focused would be an interesting dimension.
I would think you would have to do an update to Quora Diff to make that a little bit easier, though, right?
Yeah, I'd probably want to do it as a trends report, and it might be doable in trends. So the problem with trends is that it would tell you across all the samples what you're missing, but it wouldn't let you see what each sample was specifically missing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why I didn't go the trends route, because I didn't want it collated into one big list.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Keywords and script tags. This is a vestigial factor, so this trick no longer works. Used to be about 6 months ago and prior, you could index a page by putting a keyword in JavaScript. You could name your JavaScript variable or put a keyword in a JavaScript comment, or all of those shenanigans used to work, and you could get a page index. Now that doesn't work anymore. So seeing that these are being neglected, they're probably never done. They're on page, and these guys tend to have off page games. But they're still in play. These blank mean they're still in play for ecom and for DUI lawyers. That was interesting to me that those are still in play.
Does Cora count the schema as a script?
Yes.
So that'll probably be why that's that way. Because casinos aren't going to use. I can't imagine that they're using schema. That'd be interesting to try out.
They probably should. They have specific schema objects for it.
Yeah.
Keywords and sentences. So, the game sites, we looked at those last week. They didn't really have sentences. And ecom is generally light on sentences too, so very thin pages. First 100 words being neglected by casinos and ecom. And this doesn't surprise me, because usually the first 100 words of content are going to be the primary navigation of a store. And a lot of stores have 100, 200 categories. That's going to eat up all of that instantly. Casinos neglecting the title tag. I thought that was interesting. I guess they kind of are known for their brand. It's always the Emerald Queen Casino, and that's what people search, or the Bellagio, and that's what people search.
DraftKings.
Yeah. And likewise neglecting leading matches. So I thought that was interesting. But not neglected in ecom and lawyers. So very different philosophies about SEO in play here. I thought that was interesting. Let's see, any more standouts? So neglecting word count, games and ecom. So I guess I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, there's only so much you can write about a wireless headset.
So in all, they're interesting things here. I wonder about how useful this kind of information would probably be for keyword research. Clearly, there aren't tools designed to do this well. Like, doing this with Cora was kind of complicated. Like, you'd actually have to build specialized tools to do this at scale. But what do you think? Is there a possibility for there being some value in neglected SEO?
I was thinking as we were going through here and thinking from an on-page perspective, and I'm sure Kyle was too, is what are the on-page easy wins that I could do in some of these markets that might get me a bump? Because online casino and games is kind of rough, because those are really link anyway, right? But
Yep.
Like DUI lawyer Los Angeles is an entity, so why isn't Los Angeles in the title tags and meta descriptions? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, the law firm usually doesn't put it in their title and their first H1.
Right, so it's not being optimized. So that might be just an easy win. It's keyword placement, like Kyle showed in the lorem ipsum test. You put keywords in the right places and you're going to rank. So it's kind of odd that that's there at all.
And Ted, all these sites, they're I apologize. They're the number one site for each of these terms.
Yeah, we analyzed the top 100.
I see. Okay. Okay, I got it. The one thing that I was thinking of is if there are sites that are doing well that are missing any of these things, that's especially the easier to do things. That to me is where you'd want to do a little like the raise the bar SEO, like make it harder to get into the game.
I think it would be cool if you could actually look at the top 10 and compare the top 10 versus against the shared data instead of the top 100.
That's an interesting concept to narrow the scope of the analysis.
Yeah. And then it would be more useful because then I could pick out things that I know would be easy to do, so you can go after easy wins that way.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm trying to wrap my mind around that in a Quora context. So if it's in your roadmap, you have a deficit in it, and the recommendations are based on your competitors. So in a single keyword, you already get that in the roadmap. The tricky part is how do you do it across a group of keywords?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a new school of SEO, neglected SEO. So it might not be valuable, but dang it, it was invented here. So where's Lee? Lee, what do you think about neglected SEO? You with us?
I'm with us. I think a lot of times when I'm looking at this, it depends on whether or not you can implement it. So, as you said, with online casinos, they use a lot of JavaScript and things like that. So, can you utilize that to implement some of these factors, or do you have to kind of go out of your way? Is it easy, to do? A lot of the game stuff that you did, it really is, they don't really care about sentences. It is a link thing. And it'd be interesting to know if I were in the number 3, 4, 5 spot, if I did implement some of this stuff, if I would move up, if the on-page stuff that everybody sort of ignores is there. But they also have, good points on this, that neglected across the top 100. I mean, you're not optimizing the top 100. You're trying to optimize generally on page 1. So it's entirely possible that on page 1, they're taking care of business, and on pages 2 through 10, that's the reason why they're on 2 through 10, is because their SEO is not robust.
Yeah, so, very true.
I think it has merit. Looking at the, it's basically looking at factor deficits, but looking at, top factors. So.
And if every keyword has their own set of factors that you're looking at, how much value is the shared data for that particular keyword? You could be wasting your time.
Potentially, but it is interesting to see things like, this one stood out to me in particular, that online casino and games generally ignore the strategy of leading keywords and hot zones, whereas online retail and DUI lawyers don't. Like, they embrace the strategy of leading keywords and hot zones. If it might be something where it's more of an enterprise play, where you're not going in and tuning individual pages yourself because you're IBM and there's no possible way that you could tune every page on IBM. So more along the lines, you're setting policy and distributing policy throughout the organization. Neglected SEO might be a policy tool for enterprise SEO. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just thinking of casino sites and how they're built, and game sites and how they're built. Like, how would you implement an H2 and H3? It's just weird. I don't know.
You do it like through like the titles, like within the little box that they put the little thing in.
Yeah,
like
you go the game title, and then maybe this game, and it'd be odd. it seems like that would be extra work for those guys. I'm not sure.
I think that probably already exists. When you think about the little cards that they've got that they put everything into, it would be the sort of thing they would just change it in the template and it would go across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thane says this would be good for trial and error. Insert neglected factors and roll back if you get a negative result. Yeah, if you don't know what to do to try to improve your situation, working on things you've been neglecting that appear to be important is always a good guess. And so these are, broadly applicable strong factors that were being neglected within these keywords. So yeah, if I was in games, I might want to try that. So that's our show for today. Any other thoughts or comments? Anything anyone needs to announce? No? Well, definitely think about and comment what you would like our 100th episode to be about. Otherwise, I'll just make up something new and we'll do that. So if you want something specific, let us know. Be sure to check out SEO This Week. Again, it's another great YouTube show. Just search for SEO This Week. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next week.